Welcome to the final UCL Fantasy Best Wildcard and Limitless Team video. To be quite frank, there aren't many differences between the Limitless and Wildcard team because we only have two squads to choose from in Real Madrid and Liverpool and not many premiums, so it's very easy to stay in budget. You don't really gain too much from using the Limitless, but if you have the chip, you might as well use it and maybe you could gain something and maybe go for a differential or two in order to boost your rank and your final score at the very end. So let me know what you think of this team. Comment down below what you think the best Limitless and Wildcard team would be, and let's get straight into this. The goalkeepers speak for themselves. You would go for Alisson and Courtois, the main keepers, arguably the two best goalkeepers in the world, alongside the likes of Oblak and a few others. But I would actually start Courtois instead. The reason why he doesn't start in this team that you can see on screen is because I already have Alisson and I'm yet to get Courtois into my team. Check out my team selection video to see which transfers I'm planning to make. And let's get this video to 100 likes. Thank you very much to everyone who helped us reach 11,000 subscribers the other day during the FPL stream. It's much appreciated. And let me know down in the comment section below if you want to see a UCL Fantasy kind of reaction stream, a season review after the Champions League final. We're going to do something similar for FPL, and there will also be the deadline stream for UCL Fantasy, so stay tuned for that. Let me know who you would start between Alisson and Courtois, but for me personally, I would go for the Belgian because he makes more saves. I think in terms of penalties, he's arguably even better, and I would rather cover the Liverpool defence with their fullbacks and a few other options instead of Real Madrid, and I think Courtois is the best Real Madrid defensive option. I've gone for the two Liverpool fullbacks as well as Konate to cover Liverpool, and they all make the starting 11. Remember, Courtois will be the Real Madrid defensive coverage. Now, you have to think about what your predictions for the game are. Now, I personally don't think there will be a clean sheet for either side, although Liverpool are more likely, and that's why I've stacked up on Liverpool. And also, to be quite frank, and I've said this all along, there aren't too many great Real Madrid players in terms of UCL Fantasy. There's the obvious ones like Benzema, but in terms of defenders, the likes of Alaba got most of his points in the group stages. He's been pretty poor ever since. And Real Madrid aren't good defensively, and therefore I'd rather cover them with Courtois and go for those Liverpool defenders who have a better defence, and also they just offer more ball recoveries, more assists and goals, and I would go for Robertson, Trent and Konate as a result. However, you could go for Virgil van Dijk. It doesn't matter if you're on the Limitless, if you're using normal transfers, or on the Wildcard. I think he's the biggest miss in this team, and you could actually replace one of those Real Madrid defenders for Virgil van Dijk and go for a back four, or go for Virgil van Dijk instead of Konate. Let me know what you prefer. I think Van Dijk is the biggest miss in this entire team overall, so that isn't ideal. I would love to have him, but unfortunately, I don't really think there's going to be a clean sheet for either side, and you already have three defenders as a result, so you already have enough cover for Liverpool and also for Real Madrid with Courtois, and I would rather go for the midfielders and attackers who I think will offer more points. And we're going to talk about one player specifically that could make way for Virgil van Dijk, because remember, you can only have 8 players from one team, and we already have 8 Liverpool players overall. It's almost another clean sweep for Liverpool in the midfield. We've got Salah, Mane and Fabinho, with Modric taking the final spot in the midfield. I think Fabinho is definitely the one that could be debated. You could go for Van Dijk instead and go for a back four and then go for just 3 midfielders, or even Casemiro there as a result, and only 2 forwards. It just depends on how you think the game's going to pan out and which players you really want to cover. But I think Fabinho is a ball recovery machine. He even scored in the last leg against Villarreal, although that was mainly due to Ruli's goalkeeping, but he still scored, and I think Fabinho is one of the best UCL fantasy assets around his price. Casemiro also serves as another really good ball recoverer, and I just don't really like Toni Kroos as an asset. Now, he's on set pieces, he's a great passer of the ball, you never know, and he's definitely good in the big occasions as well, but I would rather go for these midfielders. I think Modric is the best Real Madrid attacking player apart from Benzema, Vinicius and probably Rodrigo. I think Modric is the best midfielder, and Salah and Mane speak for themselves, a bit like Trent and Robertson. I don't really need to delve into them too much. I think they're the two most likely to score alongside Luis Diaz, whoever starts in that Champions League final, but I think it will be the Colombian. So let me know what you think of this midfield. Would you go for Van Dijk instead of Fabinho? I think I'd go about it this way and try to change it up a little bit compared to what we usually would go for. To conclude this team, we have Karim Benzema, Diaz and Vinicius Jr. and we have 1.2 million left in the bank. So that's what I mean when I say you don't really need the Limitless in the Champions League final. That's why I've always urged people to try to use it as soon as possible. Of course, your team might be different and you didn't really need to use it, or you were planning on using other chips like the Wildcard, or just using normal transfers. But ultimately, I think a good tip for the future is to use the Limitless earlier on in the competition. But pretty much what you see here on screen is the best Wildcard and Limitless team, the best team you can assemble in general general for the UCL Fantasy Final, Matchday 13. Benzema, you have to have him. I think he is the most essential player in the game. I'd probably captain him as well, as I talked about in my team selection video, over the likes of Salah and Mane. I think that would be my top 3 in terms of captaincy. The rest is up for debate, and you can still get a lot of points without getting a clean sheet from the likes of Trent, Robertson, etc. But I would go for an attacker, and I think Benzema is the one to go for. Vinicius Junior Rodrigo is an interesting one. Carlo Ancelotti a few weeks ago actually said that Rodrigo is going to start the Champions League final, but I still think Vinicius is more consistent over the course of the season. He's more of a provider than Rodrigo, who is a really good finisher, as he demonstrated against Manchester City and also in the earlier rounds. But I think I would go for Vinicius. However, I am considering Rodrigo, especially as a differential. I think if you're looking to chase rank or maybe gain a bit over your competitors, going for a differential like Rodrigo could be the way to go. Now, once again, I keep on saying this in all my videos, wait until the lineups. Do not make any transfers right now. I think it's just, it doesn't make any sense. However, if you are using a chip, it doesn't really matter. You can make this team and then make changes afterwards when you see the lineup. But I would prefer Diaz over Jota. He demonstrated that in the last leg when I did the reverse transfer. I got rid of the Colombian for Diego Jota because of the starting 11. And in the end, Diaz came off the bench, got man of the match and scored a goal. He completely changed the game. So look, sometimes these things can happen, it can backfire, but I think Diaz is my preference, and do not be surprised if you get rid of Jota for Diaz, and then Jota's the one that scores in the end, and maybe gets a man of the match award. That would be pretty funny, to be fair. But this is the best wildcard and limitless team, like I said before, the best squad period, in my opinion, for the Champions League final. Let me know what you would change. Who is your captain, and are there any other players that we haven't discussed today? I think Jota's a good option, for example, but Rodrigo, I'd probably put just above him, and then you have these 3 who, in my opinion, are the best forwards. In terms of the midfield, there's Toni Kroos, there's Thiago and Naby Keita. All of them could pop up with a goal or something of that ilk that gets you fantasy points. The defence, like I said before, I think Van Dijk is the biggest miss, and then you have Felan Mendy from Real Madrid. But we pretty much covered everyone else. There's only 2 squads to choose from. Remember, you can have 8 players from one team. I would favour Liverpool in this final, as you can see. But remember, Courtois would be in the starting 11 instead of Alisson. So I would have 4 Real Madrid players and 7 Liverpool. Even if Madrid win the game, I just don't think their fantasy assets overall are as good as Liverpool's, and you're pretty much covering most of the points, or most of the most likely to get points, in terms of Benzema, Vinicius or Rodrigo, Modric and Courtois. The others don't really stack up in my opinion. Even Alaba, who is the second highest scoring defender left in the competition, he hasn't really done it in the knockout stages, but it's all up for debate. I would love to see your thoughts, and if you enjoyed this video, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. Let's get this video to 100 likes, and if possible even to 150, that would be much appreciated, and let's get to 12,000 subscribers before trying to reach the next big target, which is 15,000. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, as well as also join the Discord server and the UCL Fantasy League. All of that is provided in the link in the description below. So all the best of luck for Matchday 13, the Champions League final. Enjoy the football as always, and I'll see you next time.